For this next problem, I notice that x is squared but y is not, and that tells us we are dealing with a parabola. Since it's the x that's squared, this is a function opening either up or down, which we'll determine later. I am thinking to myself that I'd like to have this in the form x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k, which means I want a completed square with x on the left and all my other variables and terms on the right hand side. So I'm going to write this as x squared minus 2x, leave a blank, equals 10y plus 29, moving the 10y and the 29 to the right hand side of the equation. Then I'm going to begin the process of completing the square by cutting the negative 2 in half to a negative 1 and squaring that to a positive 1. Since I've added 1 to the left, I need to add 1 to the right to compensate. Completing the square on the left gives me x minus 1 quantity squared, and on the right side I have 10y plus 30. All I need to do to finish this off is factor out the 10 on the right hand side, and that will give me 10 times the quantity y plus 3. We've already said that this is a parabola that opens either up or down. Since this 10 is a positive 10, this is going to open upward with the directrix beneath it and the focus inside the curve. Okay, next problem, we've got x squared plus y squared, which has us thinking that this is going to be a circle, especially since we have the same leading coefficient in front of each of these variables. So let's group the x's and y's separately and see what happens. X squared plus 2x, leave a blank, plus y squared plus 12y, leave another blank, equals negative 21. Okay, now there's no leading coefficients, so we can go straight to the cut in half square routine. The 2 is going to cut in half to a 1 and square to 1 on the line above. The 12 in the y grouping is going to cut in half to a 6 and square to a 36 in the line above. Now we've added 1 and 36 to the left, so we need to add 1 and 36 to the right hand side of the equation also. Completing the square gives us x plus 1 quantity squared plus y plus 6 quantity squared equals 16. And so we have a circle with a center at negative 1, negative 6, and the radius is 4. Finally, we have another problem here with x squared and y squared. There's a minus in front of the x squared, so that tells us we're dealing with a hyperbola. Now, I don't like to lead off with a negative term, so I'm going to write the y squared terms first, beginning with 25y squared minus the 50y, leave a blank for completing the square, minus 144x squared minus 1152x, leave a blank, equals 5879. Some rather large numbers here. We're going to factor out the leading coefficient. From the y grouping, 25 factors out, leaving y squared minus 2y, blank, close parentheses. And then from the x grouping, we can factor out a negative 144, and that will leave us x squared plus 8x, blank, close parentheses, equals 5879. Make sure that you change the sign in that second parentheses when you divide out that negative 144. Now it's time to complete the square. We will cut the negative 2 in the x grouping in half to a negative 1, square that to a 1, but that's not really a 1 we've added in the blank, that's really 25 times 1. We've added 25 to the left, so we need to add 25 to the right side of the equation also. In the x grouping, the 8 will cut in half to a 4, and in turn square to a 16. But that's not 16 we've added, it's negative 144 times 16. We've actually subtracted 2,304 on the left, so we need to do the same on the right hand side of the equation. This is going to leave us 25 times y minus 1 quantity squared minus 144 times x plus 4 quantity squared equals 3,600. The numbers are nice and clean now, so we're going to divide through by this 3,600 on each side of the equation, and that will give us, after cancellation, y minus 1 quantity squared over 144 minus x plus 4 quantity squared over 25 is equal to 1. This hyperbola begins with the y squared term, so this is going to be a vertical hyperbola opening upward and downward for its orientation.